Are we ready? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is 7 o'clock, and I will call our May council meeting to order and welcome those that are here with us tonight and those that are watching online. It's a beautiful day. We're glad to have you. And with that, the minister that was going to be with us tonight was unable to be with us, so we will stand and recite the Lord's Prayer, after which Vice Mayor Reed will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, if you would kindly call the roll.
Mr. Parrott?
Here.
Mr. Reed? Here. Mr. Vincent?
Here.
Mrs. Amos?
Here.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Dwyer?
Here.
Mr. Hunter?
Here.
Thank you, ma'am. We're honored to have Mr. Doug Stanley, the Prince Edward County Administrator, with us tonight for a county update, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and staff. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. As we had Scott over at the county last night, it's been a few months off schedule, but it's glad to be able to be here and be in front of you. There's a lot going on, a lot of positive stuff going on in the community. A copy of my report's been passed around. I do want to hit on a number of highlights. First of all, during the 22 General Assembly session, HB 63 was laid on the table during a Finance Subcommittee meeting. Delegate Edmonds worked tirelessly on behalf and support of HB 63, which he proposed under 58.1602 to authorize a local referendum to collect up to 1% in additional sales tax revenue for the construction or renovation of schools. Unfortunately, this bill and similar ones, which would have allowed 2 other Virginia localities to move forward, as well as the one that would allow all counties to do so, did not advance through committee. Renovating Prince Edward County Elementary School remains a top priority, and we will continue to try to move forward with the support of our community. We will continue to seek authority to allow Prince Edward voters to decide whether this is the option they want to pursue for paying for these improvements. It's good news that the issue of school construction is getting much needed attention in Richmond. We'll continue working with Delegate Edmonds and the General Assembly to explore any possible path forward for this important work. We sincerely appreciate the efforts of Delegate Edmonds, our local community partners, and citizens who took time to reach out to legislators on the issue, and I personally want to thank the mayor for his steadfast support of the effort. You realize more than anyone that good schools make great communities, and if we can keep that engagement energy going forward, we will all benefit. At last night's board meeting, the board awarded a contract to Piney Ridge Contracting Consulting of Appomattox County for renovation of the front lawn of the courthouse. And the project will renovate the existing courthouse lawn, including reconstruction of the plaza, removal of the shrub hedge and brick columns, installation of a new plaza and walkways, power washing of existing concrete, installation of new landscaping, signage, lighting, flagpoles, and site furniture. I want to thank Lee, Robin, and Scott for their help with the project, and a copy of the project rendering is on the back of the packet we just handed out. We're also in the process, in the next week, we'll be power washing the courthouse, trying to get that cleaned up. And in the next month, we'll be looking to replace our chiller that cools the courthouse facility. That chiller was originally installed in 1997. We're lucky that we haven't lost it in the last couple of years, but we will need to coordinate with Dr. Davis on parking. We've got the chiller is right next to your parking lot in the back, and we're going to have to remove the existing one, have a temporary one installed for a few weeks while we're making the transfer, so we'll coordinate that with Scott. Scope building over on Griffin Boulevard, I think it's easy to say it's outused its useful life. The building's in pretty poor condition. I think it's one that I'm going to be asking the Board of Supervisors to surplus and offer for sale here in the near future. I know a lot of community organizations have used it over the years, but it's in such poor shape. And want to thank Philip Moore for going out and taking a look at the building and helping us with that. Broadband is an important component for the entire community. I know we've been fortunate most of the town's covered, but a lot of the county, especially during the pandemic, dealing with school kids, trying to get access to schools, has been a significant issue. We've been working with Connects, a local company here in Farmville, to move forward a project. They received a $15 million Virginia Telecommunication Initiative, or VATI grant, that was matched in part by a Prince Edward County commitment up to $2.153 million of our CARES Act ARPA funding. The project includes Prince Edward, Lunenburg, and Cumberland. Also want to state today that a $4 million loan through the Industrial Development Authority of Prince Edward County closed. That will provide additional funding for Connects. It would help Jim Garrett and his staff is they've got a federal grant that gets paid out over a 10-year period, but they're trying to build the entire project in the next 4. And so the $4 million loan will help them ramp up installation, hopefully get most of this stuff installed over the next 4 to 5 years. The HIT Technology Park out off Persimmon Tree, we received $640,000 funding from the Governor's Business Ready Sites program earlier this year. That will help cover engineering costs for water and sewer improvements on site. In addition, it will help us move from Tier 3 to Tier 4 status, meaning that the location will be at full readiness for prospects. We had asked for $1.6 million. We got $640,000. We're hopeful that next year, in this next round of funding, that we'll get the rest of what we need. Also, it's my understanding the Tobacco Commission approved $530,000 in funding for us on this project today. So that's the additional good news. That will also help by funding architectural engineering design cost of the water storage tank that will be needed, and also help water pressure for the town in that area, we believe. The elementary school, even though we're stalled with the sales tax, we are moving forward with design work. Our chair, vice chair, and myself are on the committee that's reviewing proposals, and we look forward to getting that moving forward. The other good news from last night's meeting, that the Board of Supervisors approved a memorandum of understanding with the Department of General Services for Prince Edward County to serve the 3 state facilities in Nottoway with water from the Sandy River project. Essentially, this allows us to keep moving forward with the project. I think one of the main reasons it failed 15 years ago was that we didn't have a significant customers lined up. They've been working diligently over the last year to try to find a long-term water source for those 3 state facilities that use about 700,000 gallons a day, and we'll be continuing that dialogue. And hopefully, we'll be able to have a conversation with the town as well about providing a backup or additional source of water. CTB hearing last week, funding for the county revenue sharing project for the entrance to Manor House Road and the turn lanes was included, and also your Farmville Riverwalk Phase 1 was included. Congratulations to the town for that project. I think it will be a game changer for downtown and add some excitement with people being able to get access down along the Appomattox. Prince Edward County Industrial Park Access Road, we are working, we've got a couple of Tobacco Commission grants over the years to extend a access road to utilize some property. This is out behind Triborough and where the VDOT shop is. We're hoping to be able to put that project out in the next month. Like the town, redistricting, the board approved changes to our election districts. Unless challenged, they become effective on May 20th. And a copy of the maps of the revised districts are available on the county's website. Solid waste, last year we had some issues. We were able to bump our permit up from 100 to 175 tons a day. We're now working with our new landfill engineer, Labella, to evaluate cell capacity and plan for the future of the facility. We need to be in a position in the next 2 or 3 years to begin construction of the next cell, which will last us another 5, 6, 7 years after that. So we're trying to make sure all our planning is in place. Last item, FY 22-23 budget. We've advertised for a public hearing on May 31 at 7 p.m. at the courthouse of the county's FY 23 budget, the FY 23 school budget, and 22 tax levies. A full copy of our budget will be available on the county website. We've been able to include a number of things we hope will be able to address needs. We are advertising a static real estate rate of 47 cents, leaving the personal property rate at $4.50. Board is aware of some of the implications of the assessments of vehicles, and we'll continue to monitor that over the next few months. One of the big things we're trying to do is get some additional funding for the school system to help them get their wages up and address some of their teacher losses. We've also got $250,000 in there for capital improvements to start putting together some debt service. Even though the sales tax issue hasn't moved forward, we want to start to make some headway. And probably the additional component of that is we adopted a countywide meals tax last night, which will go in effect on October 1. Of course, that doesn't impact anything inside town limits, it affects businesses outside town limits. We hate we're losing the fish and pig, but good for you guys for getting it. But you're welcome. But that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Unless there are any questions, I appreciate, again, having the opportunity to come before you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley, for coming. And I would just add on the sales tax bill, I was pleased to be at the General Assembly to lend the town's support. But it was a very sad day for Prince Edward County and the state of Virginia when, was it 4 or 5 delegates decided the bill would end right there. So I hope that in a different General Assembly, the outcome will be different, because quality education is absolutely paramount to our community. And we appreciate, I hear lots about the schools, see lots of pictures about leaking roofs. So I hope that the county in the future will find a way to solve that. But we were happy to lend our support. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we have several public hearings. The first public hearing involves ordinance number 209, amend Chapter 9, elections of the town of Farmville of the Farmville Town Code, Farmville voting ward map, and reappointment of members of town council to the town to establish the boundary lines, number of election districts, and to set representation from each ward. To reapportion of representation among wards is required by law to take place following the 2020 census. Mr. Davis, you have anything to add before we open it up? Do we have anybody here that wishes to speak to the redistricting? If we don't, I'll bring that public hearing to a close. And the next public hearing is in regards to ordinance number 210. That is rate change to Division 2 connections and charges of Article 2, water of Chapter 28, water, sewer, and sewage disposal of the Town of Farmville Code. In essence, it is increasing the rates. Any comments? Anybody here wish to speak to that public hearing? If not, I'll bring it to a close and we'll move to the next one. Ordinance number 211, amending section 22-31.1, monthly service charge, sanitation fee of Article 2, collection regulations of Chapter 22, solid waste and weeds of the Town of Farmville Town Code. Anybody wish to speak to that? If not, I will bring it to a close. The next public hearing is on the budget. The budget is $21,104,018.01. The above budget includes a real estate tax rate of 13 cents per 100 of assessed value and a personal property tax rate, business only, of $1.50 per 100 of assessed value and a 27-cent per pack cigarette tax rate. Anybody wish to speak to the budget? Y'all are a quiet group tonight. If no one wishes to speak to the budget, I'll bring that public hearing to a close. One more.
I had a Monroe Preston who had called in that he would be present, and an Emma Lewis
For
the town budget.
were they coming in or calling in?
Monroe Preston called to say he would be present, and Emma Lewis signed up this evening.
Okay.
Mr. Preston, are you available to speak now on the town budget?
No, I'm not ready to speak right now.
It's either now. Did you want to speak to on the town budget?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Emma Lewis, and as a current member... Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, my name is Emma Lewis, and as a current member of our community golf course, I would like to give you a little insight to what the Farmville Municipal Golf Course means to me. One day, 5 years ago, there I was with the neighborhood children waiting and searching around for something to do, when suddenly we found a set of old golf clubs in the garage. I found a golf ball and attempted to whack it. To my surprise, and my friends and the whole neighborhood at this point watched as I smacked a ball across 3 yards and into a neighborhood's flower garden. I was confused, excited, and ultimately enchanted. I had a natural gift that was a little unusual at the time, but grew into my life dream. The very next day, I rushed to untitled territory called a golf course, the Farmville Municipal Golf Course. After still stunned with my abilities, I learned that I could hit the ball 150 yards and straight as an arrow. I eventually decided to indulge in the golf lifestyle. Community to local to state to national to worldwide tournaments pursued me as I flourished, developed, and pushed myself as a high-ranked golfer. Day after day for 5 straight years, summer or winter, cold, wet, or 100 degrees, I pushed myself on the Farmville Municipal Golf Course. 5 years later, here I am, and I can now say that my proudest accomplishments in golf are my first seed placement on my high school golf team, my win into the Florida National Tournament, my dedication at a 54-hole women's championship, my accomplishments at the Virginia High School Boys State Competition, and my recent letter from the Harvard College Golf Program. Before every high-stake tournament, I go to my roots, my home turf, and battle it out on the Farmville Municipal Golf Course. And also, after every high-stake tournament, I go back to see some familiar faces either congratulating me on my victory or encouraging me to try harder, offering me some companionship through both the good and hard times. Seeing the golf course always brings me back through my well-deserved accomplishments. The first swing, the first time making it in the hole, the first not double par, the first bogey, the first par, the first birdie, the first eagle, and even the first albatross. Farmville Municipal Golf Course never fails to make me feel good about myself and happy. It never fails to bring me joy and show me that I am a good golfer, demonstrate to me that I matter, and push me to do better. Please do not shut down the Farmville Municipal Golf Course. I hope you find it in your heart. Think about my story and the hundreds of others you are taking away from. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Was there another person?
Mr. Preston?
Good evening, guys. How you all doing?
3 minutes, Mr. Preston.
I'm sorry?
You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. I really just wanted to come by. This is one of the kids that came through the junior program that we've run out there for. This is my 16th year of running the program. And we average somewhere around 16 kids, and we could do more, but I'm always scared that it'd be too many and overpowering for us. And so, you know, that's one of the reasons. So like this young lady who just spoke, there are several of them that I was hoping maybe could have been here tonight. That's why I scheduled that I would be here. You know, we're just getting started for this year, so not as many people have showed up. Now, one of the things that I know that you all say is you know, how does the golf course, how does it benefit the people in Farmville? You know, we have tournaments, we have junior tournaments, and sometimes people come from out of town. Well, that's revenue that's spent around town that you don't even see as far as the golf course. This young lady that just spoke, she played, since she started, she's played in tournaments that's held around in the country clubs around the area, as far away as Emporia, Mecklenburg County. Well, we have had tournaments where, you know, it would be anywhere from 50 to 60 kids playing. Those parents spend money in the town of Farmville, you know, so it does benefit Farmville. Now, I'll speak for myself here. I guess that I never thought of not having a golf course there. And if it was sold, I figured that somebody that's a golfer or something would buy it. But looking at the reality that that golf course will not be there, and the people that come in, since it was announced that the golf course may be closing June the 30th, that comes in, and the thing is that they now realize that there may not be a golf course for them to play except for the manor. And I'm sure that that a question has popped in some people's mind: can the manor handle those people that might be moving from used to playing out there, start going there? You know, and I don't know how many of you are play golfers, but it's only a couple of you that I've seen at the golf course at all. A couple of you I've seen that's played in tournaments out there. I know you're good golfers. I imagine that you're probably a member somewhere. You know, it's only one person that I see whose name is on the membership. Just one.
Sir, if you could wrap it up, your 3 minutes
Okay,
are up.
all right. Well, that's basically all I had to say, since, you know, just showed up for that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else sign up, Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
Anyone who didn't sign up who wishes to speak? If not, I'll bring this public hearing to a close. It's our last one, right? Last public hearing. Have anybody to sign up under public comments, Madam Clerk?
We have one more public hearing. It's on amending the current budget for street maintenance fund of carryover.
Oh, how did I miss that one? I'm sorry. Okay. Adoption of Resolution 2022-0501, amending the 2021-2022 town budget to carry over unspent funds in the street maintenance fund for fiscal year 2020-2021 of $357,178.08. Anybody wishes to speak to that one?
Tom Dennison, 109 Grove Street. I'm not sure how flexible funds are, and I do have a couple points on safety related to streets. And I'm not sure whether the paving fund is usable for other things, but I think that the crosswalk system downtown could use some polishing up and coordinating that so that everybody has a chance to access the crosswalk signaling with the proper buttons and so forth, and that the whole system can be improved, mostly at the intersections of Main Street, and then somewhat on North Street and South Street. The other item for public safety is right now you have rather large control boxes for the traffic signal systems that sit on the sidewalks and block visibility between pedestrians and drivers, and that's not good. And in more complex cities, these are usually buried in underground vaults, which of course is very expensive, but it really frees up the sidewalk area at those intersections, for the people that are waiting for the crosswalk signal to honor them and for everybody else who's moving around. So I would hope that those things can be addressed, and I'm not sure whether it's through the funds from the street maintenance fund or wherever, but I'm sure that if you can appreciate this, maybe you'd find a way to improve these conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak?
I signed up, but I haven't heard my name called, so I'm going to go ahead and speak up.
Haven't got to the public comments. We're still in a public hearing.
gotta wait for that
This has to be about the street maintenance fund.
Okay, well, it's kind of like street maintenance is involved, but I'll wait to public comment.
Hold on just a minute. We'll get to
Yeah.
the public comment section.
I can do that.
Anybody else wish to speak about the street maintenance? If not, I'll bring that public hearing to a close, and then we'll move to public comments. Madam Clerk, anybody that signed up for public comments?
Mr. Tuck?
There we go.
I should come more often. They'll be more familiar with what's going on. Good evening, Dr. Davis, council. Chief Andy, if you're still in the back. Robin Atkins, my man. He's a good guy. I wrote some things down, and I'm not going to ad lib, but get my 3 minutes in. About 3 years ago, there was a street light installed on Jesse's Way. Oh, my name is Gary Tuck, by the way. I live on 110 Jesse's Way. About 3 years ago, there was a street light.
Madam Clerk, your clock is not working.
Oh, that was in my favor. All right. About 3 years ago, there was a street light installed on Jesse's Way with the expectation that one more would be installed the next year. The next year came and went with no light. Then COVID came and threw the budget out of sorts. So now we hear that the light is no longer on the books. The stake is still in the ground where the light should go, and it's still waiting. I found out that there is no street light budget. Street lights fall under street maintenance. I believe there should be enough funds in street maintenance to install one street light. That was told to us 3 years ago. One person may want a light. Another person may not want a light. A third person may say they don't want their tax money going to a street light. But what they say really doesn't matter, does it? It really doesn't matter what they say. What matters is it needed. If it's needed, you put it up. We have 17 homes on our dead-end street. 9 are retired. The area we asked for another light, there is 1 home. The rest is heavily wooded. I ask that the council be proactive and not wait to be reactive on this issue. Let the light shine. I ask that the street light be put back on the agenda, and let's proceed with it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Streetlights are not actually a council agenda item. The town manager has the ability to handle those. So I assume, Mr. Davis, you will move forward with handling streetlights.
Yeah, I can set up a time to meet with Mr. Tuck and discuss the, what transpired during that time.
Good deal. Thank you very much. The town manager will be in touch.
Hey, great. I like to talk to him. He's a good man.
Good.
Like he's my neighbor, matter of fact.
I'm glad somebody can keep him straight. I can't. So, anyone else, Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone else who did not sign up who wishes to speak? Okay. If not, we'll bring the public comment and move to the regular order of business. The next item is the consent agenda. Do I have anybody that wishes to pull anything out of the consent agenda? And if I don't, do I have a motion to approve it?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve this consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Let's do it this way. Where are we? Down to 13, request approval of the finance report. There she is.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome. So you guys have the April finance report in front of you. There's only 2 items I'd like to point out. One is in the general fund, you'll see that there's a decline in the balance, and that's due to in March, you had a significant amount of business licenses that you got in, so that offset the expenses, whereas in April, you got an immaterial amount of business licenses. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out is in the set-aside account, you'll see that it increased significantly, and that's because they missed moving the March payment, so the March and April payment got moved in April. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions? If not, do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I move that we approve the town finance report as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Madam Finance Director. Item 14, request adoption of ordinance 209 redistricting. Mr. Davis, you have a verbal report?
I do not, Mayor. We've followed the requirements pursuant to the Code of Virginia, and after this adoption, if it's so done, then there is a period of time where someone can oppose it, and I believe it's 30 days after that it will go into effect.
Any questions, and do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 209 redistricting.
Second.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mr. Dwyer,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. Amos,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Hunter,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mr. Parrott.
Yes.
On a unanimous vote, the measure is passed.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 15, request adoption of ordinance number 210, amending the water and sewer rates. The water and sewer rates have not been increased since 2018. Mr. Davis?
I'd just like to iterate, it's $1 for the water at each level, each tier, as it's calculated, and then the sewer rate obviously would automatically increase because the sewer rate is 120% of the water usage.
Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt the recommendation of the Finance and Ordinance Committee and adopt Ordinance 210 effective July 1, 2022.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any additional discussion? If not, Madam Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Hunter,
Yes.
Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Amos,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer.
Yes.
On a unanimous vote, the measure is passed.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 16, request adoption of ordinance number 211, sanitation fee. The sanitation fee has never been increased, and the Finance and Ordinance Committee met on 3/31 and recommend increasing it by $1. Any other comments, Mr. Davis?
I would just say that, that this is needed, and in no way it just offsets some of our cost. Our sanitation is pretty robust when we do the twice a year and picking up anything that people pretty much set out at their curb and those types of things. If you cut down your own trees, we come by and pick them up. I mean, a lot of that just doesn't even cover the cost, but it offsets it.
Do I hear a motion?
I move that we accept the recommendation of the FOC community and adopt ordinance 211 effective July 1st, 2022.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll.
Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Amos,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer,
Yes.
Mr. Hunter.
Yes.
On a unanimous vote, the measure is passed.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 17, request adoption of resolution 2022-05-01, amending the fiscal year 2021-2022 town budget. Madam Finance Director.
Yes, we need the fiscal year 21-22 town budget needs to be amended to carry over the unspent funds and the street maintenance fund from fiscal year 2021 in the amount of $357,178.08. So we're requesting that council adopt a resolution giving me the authorization to transfer the unspent budget funds to the current year, fiscal year 21-22 of $357,178.08.
Do I hear a motion?
I got a question. Okay. Does it go back into the street maintenance fund?
Yes, it does.
I just want to be sure.
Yes.
And it has to, because these funds are primarily, if not all, from the Virginia Department of Transportation, and they have to be used for certain purposes in street maintenance. We do have the ability to add our own funds, which we probably should look at doing in the future. But at this time, we only use those funds that are provided by VDOT to maintain our own streets, because VDOT does not maintain it. And it does go into, I'm sorry, Mayor, just because we had some questions earlier, just to give an overview, it does cover sidewalks, it does cover the replacement, the installment of new, it includes signage, it includes, we pay for all of our street lights that are already up, the electric bill for those, for arterial and collector streets from that fund. When we plow streets for during snow, so we have personnel charges that come out of that, equipment fees, that usage that cost us. So it's a whole lot of things that go into that come out of that fund for us to operate and maintain our area.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion that we adopt the street maintenance fund for 2021-22.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional discussion?
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. Amos,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Hunter.
Yes.
On a unanimous vote, the measure is passed.
Thank you, ma'am. Standing committees, Mr. Cole, Finance and Ordinance.
No report.
Mr. Hunter, Public Safety.
Nothing to this time.
Mr. Vincent, Parks and Recreation.
We did, the first announcement did go out for the July 4th celebration, which is on July 2nd, for the fireworks after dark. And there will be more details forthcoming about bands and food trucks and those sort of things. So stay tuned. It's an exciting time.
Mr. Barrett, Infrastructure.
All good for now.
Good. Mr. Reed, Personnel.
Nothing to report.
Before we go around the table, we'll do staff reports. Mr. Davis?
I only have 2 items. One is, as of today through the 17th of this month, it's National Police Week. And in 1962, President Kennedy made May the 15th National Peace Officers Memorial Day. So celebrate your local, state, and federal law enforcement peace officers for the next week, and remember those that have fallen on May the 15th. And then during that time period and immediately following, since it will be before our next meeting, National Public Works Week is May the 15th through the 21st. And so, as you know, in our organization, those are probably the 2 largest employment areas that we have, and so they are the most seen, and people see them the most of what they do for us. Every employee is important, don't take me the wrong way, but those are the areas that you see the most. So I wanted to acknowledge those weeks and thank our employees that work for the town in those areas.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Atkins? Speaking of Public Works. I've heard people tell me that. I can't hear him.
Well, keeping Vaughn clean, you know, it's one of my main concerns, and the cleanup campaign is a good one. We did over 38 tons, so I feel like every year that's not going to hit that, it's going to be in the 20s, because we cleaned up, but it still gets that. And coming back to street maintenance money, the paver's supposed to be here next week, so they're bringing machines in either tomorrow or Friday, and I think we're going to start. I'll get out of the schedule as soon as they give me one.
Any questions?
And remember, that's going to be a little over $800,000 in paving and milling this year.
Yep, it's going to be a lot of good, happy people. I love to pave roads too. Paint them and pave them.
Thank you, sir. Chief? You're good? Okay, we'll swing around the table. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Amos?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Reed?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Dwyer?
Nothing, Mayor.
Mr. Parrott?
I'm good.
Mr. Vincent, y'all are, it's a test every time to see if I can remember the names.
That's right. I'm good, Mayor, thank you.
Mr. Hunter?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Nothing. Mr. Cole?
I do have something. A lot of y'all have been asking me what my plans are for the future as far as running for reelection. Something I've given a lot of consideration to. However, over the past 2.5 years, the stress of everything that I've been in my life has significantly impacted me in my life, and particularly my health. And with that in mind, I am going to step away from some duties so that I can take time to concentrate on getting back into health where I need to be. So I will not be seeking re-election for the Ward A seat. That's the election in November. I've enjoyed serving on council for 8 years. I've enjoyed getting to know everyone here and appreciate all the support that you all have given me through the years. And it was a tough decision, but you know, my health has to come first and foremost in everything that I do. So thank you all for allowing me to serve.
Thank you for your service. Just remember, you have 8 or 9 more months to go. It's not over yet, as I remind myself every day. I have to go till December. Anybody else have anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it. Adjourned.